Hello, welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland, transfer deadline day, smorgasbord. What else would it be? Extravaganza, Podathon, whatever you want to call it. Bring and buy sale to make a few quid so we can get well back out of the club. I don't mean that. I'm just making stuff up now. I've got no idea. I'm going to start this. Right, with me this afternoon, we have, it's only the legend that is Kris, the wrestler Tunmore. Right,
Kris, how you doing?
We've waited so long to get you on. You are the podcast official wrestler, aren't you?
Apparently so.
And if people want to see you wrestling, where can they find you?
Just check out on YouTube, and I post some links on there to whatever show's coming up. I'm having a bit of a quiet spell at the moment, but I'm going to start working again soon.
Good. Get Kris behind you. He knows everything about wrestling there is ever needed to know. And he's not in it for the spandex, no matter what people try and tell you. Right, next up we have how do I say? Am I going to say Geoffrey or am I going to say Petito?
Just say Geoffrey, because don't embarrass yourself.
It's Geoffrey in New York, our #1 Costa Rican fan, who's mates with Joel Campbell. You right, mate?
I'm fine. Yeah, things could be worse, things could be better, but I'm fine.
Oh, good. And then there has been rumours that we were going to get a famous footballer, current footballer who played for Arsenal, to come on a podcast. It's only fucking Santi Cazorla, isn't it, Santi? How you doing?
Yeah, all good. Definitely Santi Cazorla. Yeah, no, not bad at all.
Santi, where's your Spanish accent gone?
I lived in London too long.
You've gone full belting.
I don't know.
You could pass a Santi Cazorla. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm
as good as you're going to get.
Right, I'm going to go and have a look in the chat box and see who is there. We've got Nicky Wilson, who was there before, the bane of my life. He was a bit of a cheeky monkey. Christian Anderson, Tom Douglas, Michael's there. Archie's been with us all afternoon. Cheers, Archie. Loki's been there as well. Winston's been there. And, well, that seems to be it at the moment. There's 25 of you. You don't have to give us a thumbs up. I don't really care. Don't tell anyone, though. But it helps us spread the podcast, apparently. So maybe you should give it a little tickle. Moisten it up. Give it some love. No. That's the message that Kris sent me on WhatsApp. I don't need any of that. Fuck me, it's only Ellis Mel's in there. Any of you three got a message for Ellis Mel?
Nah.
It's hashtag fuck Ellis. Someone say it.
Right. Hashtag fuck Ellis.
Hey, there you go. Carl will be so proud of you. Rudy's there and Billy Butler's there. Oh, and Stan is there. So I've been trying to get Stan on so many times, but he hasn't got a laptop anymore. He I don't know what he's done with it. He did tell me. I think he broke it because laptops are rubbish. Anyway, I'm waffling on. Right, we're going to start with Kris. Going to go left to right. Kris, thoughts on the transfer window so far this season? I was going to say, do you think we'll sign anyone today? But it's over.
We haven't done. No.
Cool.
I don't think it's amazing because the guys come in. We've got a bit of a rebuild job going on. He's starting with that. Some of the signs I like. Socrates, what we've seen so far of him, not too keen, but hopefully he improves. But Torreira, what I saw of him at the World Cup, if he brings that to Arsenal, I'll be happy that he's come in. And that Glenn Doozy, probably got that wrong. But what he brought as well, what I've seen in pre-season of him, I'm really liking. Liechtensteiner, again, had a bit of a stick off other football fans about signing a 35-year-old. But let's see what he does. Bit of experience bring in. He's won leagues elsewhere, so hopefully that's a good thing. And the first thing he ever did, 2 minutes into the Lazio game, take someone out with a big elbow. I did like that. Who else have we brought in? I'm going blank now.
Leno,
yeah, another good keeper from Germany. Apparently he's prone to mistake, but he's young and he's got Peter to check there to probably teach him the way, hopefully. But we'll see what happens. But I'm over. If I give it a grade, I'll say about a B+.
And don't forget to Lucas.
That's what I was saying about him anyway. Yeah. Well, I saw at the World Cup of him, and
if that would have been a Wenger signing, he'd have waited till after the World Cup and it'd cost us 60 million.
Oh yeah,
before it. So that's fantastic. Geoffrey, what's your thoughts on the transfer window so far? And are you happy?
I was happy about a week ago. Now, I guess once you start to realize that you're not going to sign anybody else and you start seeing the business that's being done by other clubs, you start to realize that the transfer window probably isn't as great as we thought it was. As I would have assumed it was, but it's not bad, but it's not great. It's mainly towards the fact that our defense, Socrates, he gives me a heart attack, and I can see teams running past him in about a couple games. I could see the heart attack between him and Mustafi. I could definitely see that panic coming. So that's what really doesn't make me happy about it. Torreira, we've needed for about 5 years now. Let's be honest. We need a central defender, a defensive midfielder for a long time. Guendouzi is young. I don't think he handles the press very well, but he's young, so hopefully he'll develop. Leno, we're going to need another goalkeeper sooner or later because Czech can't go forever. And who else do we sign? And Lichtsteiner. Well, depends on who you listen to. It's good, but some Juventus fans were saying that he was terrible last year. So, well, I guess we just have to wait for the season to start, and we'll see. Because it depends. You know what? It depends on what you think this window is meant to accomplish. Is it meant for us to win the league or top 4? That's how you should judge this window. So we'll see once the league starts.
You've got a bit of the Jason Davis going on. You're wiggling around, and then something's rubbing, so we can hear scraping noises as you're doing that. So if people are listening on iTunes, you can go and at Petito himself, because I'm not taking the blame for that one.
I'm sorry about that. I think it's this couch. Actually, I've never sat here while doing a podcast. It's this couch.
Yeah,
I'll stop moving.
That might be it. Don't do it.
Okay.
Do you like the way that I used to say Deboichi? I go Gundoizy. Do I sound like one of your people from New York?
Nah.
Please stop with it. You've upset me.
Nah, you don't sound like us at all.
So, Santi, now that you've left the club, what do you think of the transfer window so far? Are you happy, and do you wish you were back at the club now that you're at Villarreal?
Of course, I wish I'm back at the club.
It's Mark. I'm not going to call you Sammy anymore. Bloody Mark in Southampton, everybody. Sorry, he just looks like him.
I mean, compliments all day long. I'll take that. So what do I think? First of all, we didn't sign Fellaini. I mean, what a positive that was. Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is, if we had signed Aubameyang on top of our current signings, surely we would be really impressed with that. I think a lot of people, I think as Arsenal fans, or maybe football fans in general, we always want more than what we've got. I think all of us were waiting on that winger situation. But realistically, if you had taken what we've got now and added Aubameyang to it in this window, everyone would be like, this is an amazing signing. And yeah, so I think overall it's a good window. Chambers going out on loan, a bit bizarre for me. I don't know whether that's going to turn out to be a good thing. Hopefully for his career, obviously it improves him as a player, but for us in squad depth, I don't know. We'll soon find out. But yeah, I think it was overall a good window. Would have liked Dembele, but who knows?
Yes. So I think that's an important point. Not only if you include Debuchy, I'm fucking obsessed with that now. Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan, not only would they be, I think they should be included in this like area of a transfer window of the change of the entire squad. But when you think they've not only should they be included in this, but they've had half a season already with us. Now, hardly anybody goes and spends massive amounts of money like that. So not only are they two magnificent additions to the squad, but they've had half a season to bed in. So that's like double win-win. Do you agree with that, Kris?
Yeah, I do.
You were going to say no then to upset me. First of all, Geoffrey's picking on me. Now you.
No, I agree with you. Banging Yang. I've put a bet on straight away. I think he's going to be win the Golden Boot this year. So that's why I'm confident in his abilities, especially what he did in them 10 games. I'm just seeing him replicating that form. And as I think somebody pointed out earlier, most of them, we've had a lot of players come back to pre-season on time, not with World Cup hangovers as well. So over the January one and to this one as well. Yeah, that's a complete overhaul of the squad nearly.
I'm just telling Ellis off because he's got his phone in his pocket and he accidentally muted Stan. Can't have anyone muting Stan, so I've unmuted you, Stan. Don't worry. He's in it. Yeah. So yeah. Geoffrey, what do you think about that? Do you think that could it be considered as in the reforming of the club as the new general direction of everything going together? Do you think it's fair, like Mark was saying, to include those two players as in the whole new revamped Arsenal squad?
I actually was thinking about this earlier because I found it weird that last January we went for Aubameyang and we would spend what was it, 60 million or 50, something around there for Aubameyang, and I found it weird that why not just wait for the summer to see where the team was going to be strengthened at. But then I thought about it, maybe and Wenger and Gazidis thought to themselves, like, listen, we might as well just bring this guy in from now so that he gets used to the squad from now. And on top of that, we won't have to compete with no other team for a striker come the summer, which is now. So I think, yeah, you have to consider the January window as part of this window. And it is fair to say that if you look at it that way, we have had a good window. But if you look at it without, I would say we haven't had a good, we have an average window. But it is fair.
But all the funds, I'm just looking here on Wikipedia, it says that Aubameyang was bought for 56 million. And when you think the Mkhitaryan was probably worth, what, 40 million pound? If you bought Aubameyang now, I reckon we'd be paying 65, 70 million pound for him because, I mean, that end to the season he had for us was absolutely magnificent. So, yeah. I count that. I do count them all with... and
more importantly, he may not have even been available because, you know, Chelsea's looking for a striker right now because Morata's crap. So maybe he wouldn't have been available.
And we know that somebody at Arsenal at the moment has a Borussia Dortmund loyalty card, so that's why we keep buying all their players, because I think it's a buy two get one free. So I expect one of them in on a free. So we were linked with not Jurgen Sommer. That's a goalkeeper who used to play for QPR years ago. We've been linked with quite a few of their players, but then when you got Sven, I think Sven had something to do with Borussia Dortmund. Now I'm talking about stuff I can't remember. Right, so what other things do we talk about? Kris, what's your thoughts on what you're expecting for the upcoming season? What would be your realistic targets for what we should achieve?
Just improvement, really. That's what I want every season since we started our decline from like the Invincibles team that just got ripped apart and never replaced. But I think slowly, not saying we're going to get another Invincibles team, but we're replacing, weeding out the bad and bringing in some good for a change. So I think we might just nick top 4, but in like the 4th place. Maybe get to the final of the Europa League this year and we'll hopefully get our FA Cup back. It's called the Emirates FA Cup for something.
So do you when was the last time you were there? I'm trying to think of that. I've done so many shows today, I'm forgetting who I've asked what. When was the last time you were this excited and anxious? Not anxious, not the right word. It could be anxious, you never know. When was you this excited for a new season? Because for me, it would have been the season after we were in the Champions League. We lost in the Champions League final. I thought, that's it, we're going to go on, and we didn't. We lost to Chelsea in the League Cup final.
Probably the same, if I'm honest with you. Losing to Chelsea or Birmingham after we'd lost that season, I thought, we're at right decline. Yeah. Yeah. Or the season we went out after we lost 8-2 to United and just bought 5 random players.
Yeah, that worked out well, didn't it? Geoffrey, what's your expectations for the upcoming season? And when was the last time you were as giddy as a March hare, which is a thing in this country? So lucky.
Expectations, I want top 4. Challenging for the league is I don't believe is realistic right now. Honestly, I'm a bit worried about top 4 because you would think that City, United, and Liverpool are going to be up there, so it's going to be between Chelsea, Spurs, and us. So it's a bit tight, but I'm hoping that maybe we could win the Europa League and just get in there and we could finish 10th and it wouldn't even matter. But I'm hoping that we could get top 4 and excited about the season. I don't want to be too pessimistic, but our defense is not great. So I'm not that excited, even though I do believe that last year when they had teams running at us, it was like panic stations. Like, oh my God, nobody knew what they were doing. But the team looks better coached now. They seem to know what they're supposed to do. They're just not doing it properly. So I'm hoping that as the season goes on, maybe our defense will tighten up a little bit. But yeah, those are my expectations.
We need, like I think someone was saying in one of the last shows, that you need a good 6 months to train the defenders how to defend again. So hopefully that will work out. Mark, same question to you.
So first of all, wow, excited for the season. When was the last time? Was it 2011? We signed. Was it Arteta and Ben Ayoun? That window. That was such a good window. We signed like 5 players on deadline day. Yeah, that was phenomenal. I mean, obviously, like the Ozil signing and stuff. That was also awesome. So I don't know. I think that's probably the last time. As for expectations, I think I'm probably going to get completely and utterly like abused for this. But as long as the team play with 100% and they give it their all, I just want to see that. Like that's my expectation. I want to see 100% for a new coach, a new regime. You know, top 4 would be nice. Obviously finishing above Tottenham. Yeah, who doesn't want that? And you know, Europa League, a good run in that would be good. Trophies would be nice to add. You know, another bit of silverware. Let's say FA Cup's reasonable, but as mentioned, like the league, I still think it's going to be some time. You know, next year, next season, maybe, but this season, probably not. I should say Liverpool are going to look strong. You know, United, to be honest, I think they're going to have a good season. They've not done anything really in the window, but I think they're going to be up there. And of course, City, as much as I hate to admit it, they're obviously favourites. So yeah, that's my expectations. Would be good to see a trophy, but 100% is all I ask.
Can't argue with any of that. Like, as the transfer window is closed, we've now almost run out of things to talk about. So I always think it's really interesting to hear how you become an Arsenal fan. So Kris, give us a little rundown. So when your family in hundreds of years' time can say, look, there's great uncle or great granddad, Kris, before his knees gave in. So yeah, how did you become an Arsenal fan? Because I won't say you're a dirty northerner, but you are north of Peterborough. And my friend who lives in Peterborough, I call her a dirty northerner.
Well, from Shrewsbury, all my uncles and my dad all support different teams. And one of my uncles took me to Anfield. And
child abuse, nearly.
I know, but they were playing Arsenal, so I was being I think I was about 6 years old, being a little shit. I'm supporting the other team. Hey. And it just stayed there since then.
What year was that, roughly?
Oh, 87, 88.
Wow. That's the first season I went to a game as well, but I was 17 at the time, not 6. So that would have been back in the days when Liverpool were absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, but I still chose Arsenal.
That was a very brave decision.
Yeah.
Do you think you made the right one?
Oh, I do.
Excellent. We saved you from a life of bin dipping. Wonderful. Yeah. Geoffrey, how did you become an Arsenal fan?
About 7 years. I think it was 7 years ago. About 7 years ago. Well, actually, I grew up in Limon, Costa Rica. So when I was back home in Costa Rica, we always went to soccer games or football games, whatever you want to call it. And then I moved to the US when I was 8 years old. And I completely stopped watching football. I just stopped. There was the football culture in the United States wasn't as great as it was back home. And you really only support, but in Central America, you only support your hometown, your country, and Brazil. Like that's the only teams you're supposed to support back home. So about 7 years ago, I was sitting in my house. It was a Sunday. I was bored. And I turned on the TV and the Arsenal game was on. And I'm like, oh, I like this team. I'm like, I start watching the game. I'm like, okay. So the week after that, I was like, you know what? I think let's pray that I can find Arsenal again. So I turned on the TV and they're on again. And then the week after that, Arsenal was not televised, and I saw it was Tottenham that was on TV. And I was like, man, for some reason, I really don't like this team. This team is shit. I don't know what it was, but I hate it. For some reason, I hated Tottenham and Swansea. No, I don't think Swansea. Yeah, it was Tottenham. And I'm like, I hate this team. And then I started doing a little research, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm an Arsenal fan. And after that, I haven't missed one game. Well, I've never been to the Emirates because I live in New York, but I've never missed one game.
Do you think you ever
So that's how I
come
became an
over
Arsenal
here?
fan.
Do you think you're going to come over and see any games sometime?
Well, I just finished nursing school, so I could finally afford it. So yeah, I will go over there sooner or later to watch some of the games at the Emirates. But let me pay off these school loans first.
Maybe you could do some kind of job swap with our Ellis, because our Ellis has just qualified in his nursing.
School loans. But anyway, at least now when you guys have a question about any type of injury, you guys don't have to be asking no random people on Twitter who pretend to be nurses or doctors and know what they're talking about. You can just ask me and I'll know what I'm talking about. But that's how I became an Arsenal fan.
Because every time we ask Ellis if any of us, we've got a little injury, Ellis wants to have a look up our bottoms because Ellis is a very bad man. So nobody ask Ellis if you're not feeling well. Mark, how did you become an Arsenal fan?
Interesting question, actually. I think, plain and simple, we were probably the team that were winning at that point.
That's a long time ago.
You know, I mean, you know, I was a young nipper. I think, like, you know, Thierry Emery obviously being, you know, at his peak, the style of football as well, and I just sort of fell in love with it. You know, it's a strange one. Like, it's sort of just kept with me since. Like, all my family, my friends, like my other half and her family are all Southampton fans. So you can imagine the sort of stick we get, I get from me, from my lot. You know, especially when we lost, I think, on Boxing Day, was it, a few years back? It was like
3-2 or 4-2, wasn't it?
It was something ridiculous, and I was sat in the Saints end, and my lord, yeah, literally, and so yeah, yeah, that's kind of how it stuck. So, you know, I've kind of been with us since we were winning, and I'm still here, even though we've been through a tough time. So, put it this way, I'm here forever.
But the good times are coming back. You know, look at this, everybody. Don't tell anyone I'm doing this. My mum's come to see me today, right? She's fallen asleep on the sofa.
Yeah, we're supposed to be looking at you. I'm looking at that mask. What is that mask?
Oh, it's a Halloween thing. That's on on the other side. You can see a little speaker.
Oh, and, Lord, I would.
Yeah, someone's put it on the speaker, and it doesn't, and it scares people when they sit there. So
I would shit the bed.
Well, I've done that a few times in my old age. No, I haven't actually.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Go on then.
Because I like during the preseason, right? Who's calling me? Hold on, give me a second.
Okay.
Well, so during the preseason, especially during the Atletico game, I've noticed that it was like 95% of the people in the stands in Singapore were Arsenal fans. Like, the whole stadium came to see Arsenal, and nobody came to see Atletico. And when I look at those things, and it's the same thing for the PSG game, and it seems that we have such a huge fan base, but I don't believe we conduct ourselves as a huge club. Is it just me, or does anybody else get upset at the fact that, let's say, it was reported that we're only going to spend 50 million pounds this transfer window, and everybody thought that was either a joke or it was true or not, and it turns out that it pretty much is true. That's pretty much around what we spent. Does anybody else think that maybe? And does anybody have a problem with the fact that we don't seem to conduct ourselves as a big club when we have such a large fan base? And shouldn't we be spending more in the transfer window, considering that we have so many fans?
Either you two want to take that?
I mean, it's a really good question. I think it's a difficult one. Yeah, I think you look at the fact that we try and be maybe a self-sustained club. You know, I think I'm not a financial expert by any means. We probably have
everyone else does.
Pretty much, yeah. I might as well. You know, like, we've got a gazillion pound in the bank, and clearly we can spend it. But no, I think you look at people like United. Obviously, the bank are just going to always keep giving them money, no matter what. I think Man City, they're owned by, let's be honest, an oil-rich owner. We've only, I mean, let's be honest, none of us, well, from what I've seen, are happy with the Kroenke takeover. But maybe, just maybe, in a couple of years' time, will we have those resources? Maybe we can just chuck money, but at the same time, do we want to be one of those clubs that buy success? I'd rather see people come through our youth academy and do well, rather than just going full Man United and just saying, well, look, let's throw 89 million at a player. Let's bring someone through the youth. Let's do that. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and I think the 50 million figure that we got given this year was probably off. We didn't really do too many outgoings, and the ones we did do were pathetic amount. God, excuse me, were an absolute pathetic amount. 4 million, I think it was reported for Perez.
Yeah.
So we can't. It's not even like we've kind of sold enough to spend. But yeah, I think it's a difficult one. I think a lot of us we look at it and we're like, oh, why don't we just make money? Why can't we spend the money? And I think that's probably it. Maybe because we're self-sustained, and we want to keep it that way. Maybe traditions of the club. Who knows as well with Emery now in charge, and as I say, Kroenke takeover. We'll soon find out, won't we?
I think we will.
I think we should.
Oh, go on, Geoffrey.
No, go ahead, Kris. I'm sorry.
Kris. You don't want to say anything, or you can't get it off mute?
No, I was screaming what the last guy said. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. Oh. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I've got this massive fan base, but we don't seem to invest it in the right places, maybe. And then you've got this sole owner that before he's become sole owner, like when they put the season tickets up, was it 2 years ago, where they added 3% and it generated another 3 million instead of paying the shareholders dividends. He just took it out in consultancy fees. He said, haven't they slapped us with that KSE slapped us with another big bill as well, a couple of £1 million as well. That's where our money seems to go, is back to Kroenke in other ways than sorting out the shareholders or anyone else and looking after the team. Because I remember reading an article a while ago about his American teams, right? And they did a study of like the 17 seasons that he had these 2 or 3 teams in America. How many times his teams won the league or whatever?
They don't win the league.
It was something like 3 out of 17 seasons, something like that. And the guy just cares about making money. He doesn't care if we win. What happens on the pitch? Was it last season? He didn't. Not last season. The season before, he didn't even come to the cup final. As well, we're in the cup final. He's not even going to that, and that's meant to be the majority owner of the club.
Go on, Geoffrey.
Yeah.
This is what makes me upset. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a big fan, and I believe that all clubs should try to be self-sustained. I'm not a big fan of Chelsea or PSG or Man City basically being funded by rich owners or countries, basically, because PSG is pretty much run by a country. But I'm also a fan of when something is broken in your house, you take care of your house. And right now, something is definitely broken at Arsenal. And if I was to say something's broken, people said that when Emery came in, he would have to scrap everything and do a complete rebuild. I've never believed that. I thought that was stupid. But I did believe that he has to fix the defense. Now, which means that you don't have to spend if Arsenal's budget this year was £50 million, if we had an owner that would say, you know what, I tried to be self-sustained, but right now the team needs it, so I'm going to give £40 million to the team. What quality of defender can we come in to Arsenal right now? Because we've all seen that last year Liverpool's defense was terrible, but as soon as they got Van Dijk in, the defense became more stable. Why is it that our owner, actually not even owners anymore, basically just owner, can't see that. And that's what really makes me upset, because you have this huge fan base. And sometimes when I watch the Arsenal, I feel like, Jesus Christ, how could it be that the fans care more about the team than the owner? So it's really frustrating. And we've always given Wenger grief about, oh, Wenger doesn't do this in the transfer window, or he should be doing this. But honestly, this is Emery's first transfer window, and we're still not spending money. We're not really spending the huge amounts of money that we thought Wenger should have been spending. So maybe it is the owners who are tying the hands of the club. And that's what really makes me upset.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think Steve Lord-Hill-Wood has said many times on the various podcasts over the last 5 years that the Arsenal PR department and the Arsenal departments that make money and the ones that do the deals, they could be run better. There's so much potential for the clubs, like you were saying, Geoffrey, to do so much stuff to grow, to be bigger. But doing things like the Singapore tour, stuff like that is really going to help with getting the brand out there. It's pathetic to be calling it a brand, but that's what football is at the moment.
Yeah, it is a brand. It's a business.
I do agree with you but I think we are going in the right direction. Like we did a tour. We've been to Australia and other places rather than normal pre-seasons where there's a couple of games at Barnet and a couple of games with the Swiss or German teams. They are pushing it, but yeah, you want us to be. We are as big a team as Man United and Liverpool and stuff like that, but brand-wise, we're not a patch on them, are we? Is that what the point you're trying to make? Well, you did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not trying to. You did a very good job of making it.
Yeah.
Right. I think we've been going for a little bit too long here, so I'm going to come to each one of you. I want you to just give me an actual league position that you think we're going to finish this season. So, Kris, where do you think we're going to finish in the Premier League? Are you still there? Oh dear, I think he might have fallen over. Oh no, he's there.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was going on? I had to take a phone call.
All right. So where do you think we're going to finish in the league? What position?
I hope in top 4.
Yeah.
But close to around there, maybe top 5.
So go on, put your finger on it. What position?
4.
Oh,
go on then. I'll be
lovely. Geoffrey, what position? Geoffrey?
Who? Oh.
You.
I'm praying for 4th.
Yeah.
But I have a sneaky suspicion we're gonna finish 5th. I have a bad feeling it's gonna be 5th. So I'm praying for 4th.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll win the Europa League and it won't matter. So I'm praying for somehow get into the Champions League again, because the club desperately needs it.
Okay.
But I think it's 5th.
Mark, what do you think?
What do I think and what do I hope? 2 different things.
No, which one have you put your money on? One position.
Okay, if I've got money on it, actually, funny enough, I do have money on us winning the Premier League. Don't.
Yes.
Yeah, no. I don't actually think that. I just have money on it.
braver man than me.
But yeah, no, I'm going to go with 3rd.
That's exactly where I think we're going to finish. It'll be Man City 1st, Liverpool 2nd, us 3rd. While Spurs and Man United implode, and with the new yellow and red card system, you won't be seeing Jose at the Old Trafford bench much this season because he's going to be suspended.
What's that, Danny?
What, the red and yellow card?
Yeah.
Our managers now get red and yellow cards.
Oh, right. Okay, I don't know that.
No, they've only just announced it a couple of weeks ago. That's going to be so interesting.
Yeah.
Until Wenger's gone before they do it.
You know what I'm really looking forward to? Remember about 3 seasons ago, and Jose had that meltdown at Chelsea. I'm praying he has a meltdown at United this year again. I'm praying. It looks like it's going that way, but I'm praying. Oh, that would make the season a little bit sweeter. If they completely implode, that would get me by a couple weeks. But I'm praying for that.
That'd be fantastic, and that's what we all want. We love a Jose breakdown. I forgot to adjust my camera.
Oh, it's already started in pre-season, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to get Jagielka, you know, and trying to get Godin, like Godin's going to leave. They offered Godin $7.5 million. Apparently, it could all be bullshit, but yeah, $7.5 million a year to come, and he just put it. No, didn't Boateng just send him a text message saying no, I'm not coming, or something like that?
Yeah, he did.
Absolutely brilliant. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much. So thanks, Kris.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Geoffrey.
Bye. Thank you.
And thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's been better if you'd have said that in a Spanish accent, but if you're not going to go with it, bugger you.
You
Right,
didn't ask me to.
and thank you very much for all the other people that have been with us today. We do know this isn't about who we're going to sign on transfer deadline day, because we've kind of resigned to the fact that we weren't going to sign anyone. But it's just really good to get some of the people who listen on and have a chat and have a little bit of fun. So we'll be back at 7 o'clock. That would just be the people from ABW, which at the moment, is there any breaking news? No, it's just me, Josh, and Ellis, really. No one else has replied in the group. Wasters.
Hashtag Carpenter out.
Yes, indeed. So thank you very much for listening, people. I'm obliged to say, by law, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and get your granny to listen, because grannies love football. That has been the final episode number. Oh, was it number 5? That's episode number 5. So we will see you at 7 o'clock. Well, probably about 15:15 by the time we pull our fingers out and get done. Thank you very much, everybody. Goodbye.
See you later.